certain noises, but said no words as such. Mrs. Remley was not bad-looking. Norwood wondered why she had married Mr. Remley. One thing, though, he knew about bird dogs. Norwood invited them to stop in Ralph and stay with him for a few days. He would borrow Clyde Rainey's dog, and they could go quail hunting. Vernell was sick in bed with grief and beyond comfort when they arrived. She'd not even been able to attend the funeral. Norwood put the Remleys in Mr. Pratt's old bedroom, and he set up a cot for himself in the kitchen. Brother Humphreys did not like the looks of the Remleys, and he told Norwood as much. Or rather, he told him that with Vernell here in bed, and in the shape she was in and all, it might not be the best thing to be bringing in boomers like that off the bus. Norwood said they would only be there for a couple of days. Sometime during the night, the Remleys decamped, taking with them a television set and a 16-gauge Ithaca featherweight and 2 towels. No one could say how they got out of town with that gear, least of all the night marshal. The day marshal came by and looked at the place where the television set had been. He made notes. Norwood and Vernell did not live right in Ralph, but just the other side of Ralph. Mr. Pratt had always enjoyed living on the edge of places, or between places, even when he had a choice. He was an alcoholic auto mechanic. Before his death, they had moved a lot, back and forth, along U.S. Highway 82, in the oil fields and cotton patches between Stamps, Arkansas, and Hooks, Texas. There was something Mr. Pratt dearly loved about that section of interstate concrete. They clung to its banks like river rats. Once, near Stamps, they'd lived in a house between a Tasty Freeze stand and a cinder block Holiness Church. There'd been a colorful poster on one side of the house that said, Royal American Shows, October 6 through 12, Arkansas Livestock Exposition, Little Rock. On the other side of the house, somebody with a big brush and a can of Sherwin-Williams Flat White had painted Acts, Chapter 2, Verse 38. They later moved to a tin roof house that was situated in a gas field under a spectacular flare that burned all the time. Big copper-green beetles the size of mice came from all over the Southland to see it and die in it. At night, their little toasted corpses pankled down on the tin roof. The Pratts did their washing and shaving on the front porch, because that was where the pan was, and the mirror. You could see better out there. Little Vernell, when she was little, would stand out in the yard in her panties and wave a stick or a carburetor at all the transcontinental motorists. She may well have caught some of them going both ways, the salesmen in black Dodge business coupes with no back seats. So frequently did the Pratts move from one side of the road to the other. Mr. Pratt did not prefer one side of US 82 over the other. When they moved to Ralph, Norwood quit school and went to work at the Nipper Independent Oil Company Service Center, and with his first money, he built his mother a bathroom. He did all the carpentering and put in the fixtures himself. Most of the stuff was second-hand, the water heater and the commode and the lumber, but he bought the bathtub new from Sears, and it was a delight. It was low and modern and sleek, with a built-in thing for the soap. There was a raised wave design on the bottom. Mrs. Pratt was well pleased and said so. But she was gone these many years, and now the old mechanic too. He who had shaken his head and wiped his hands and told at least 1,000 people they were losing oil through the main bearing, had joined her. Norwood missed the funeral, but Clyde Rainey had gone, and he said it had all been very nice. More people came than reasonably could have been expected. There were a good many flowers, too. The funeral home had scrubbed Mr. Pratt down with Boraxo, and Clyde said he had never seen him looking so clean and radiant. Norwood picked up his old job at the Nipper station, and Clyde was glad to have him back. Norwood was a good worker and was not known to be a thief. The station featured dishes and cheap gasoline.